In my lifetime, there are like four big revolutions happened. The first one was like personal computer. And the second revolution was the internet. Like that just changed the world again. And the third one was the mobile, because now you have this computer everywhere you go. And the fourth revolution is AI. These machines can actually talk to you like a human being and answer your questions. And they're really good there, and they're getting better every day. We were improving our product, but the next version of the model was actually getting so much better that our product was like getting even better because of that. So even if we did nothing, the product gets better by itself by just upgrading to the latest model.
Okay, friends, today this is a show of uncommon insights. We're talking about mindset, mission to get to the money, all from a CEO who's been doing this for more than 2 decades, but in a radical AI way. And it's a balanced view that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Up next is the CEO of Jotform, Aytekin Tank.
Click-based marketing is dying as AI-driven search takes over. If your brand isn't showing up through PR and earned media, it won't show up in the LLMs. Afraid of falling behind? Contact Bill Byrne and the team at Remedy PR.
You've been innovating for some time. I believe Jotform was founded in 2006. It's been all without funding, if I understand. Can you just talk about what Jotform solves for folks and how this relates to the AI adventures we're all experiencing and hopefully enjoying?
So yeah, it's been almost 2 decades since I started Jotform. And before I started Jotform, I was working for a media company, and like we had all these different websites, and I would create all these like forms for our editors for our websites, and then I looked for a solution like to automate the creation of the form, but I couldn't find one. And that's how I decided to create Jotform back in 2006. And and during this time, one thing that I discovered is we are not really in the forms business. Like we are not really, what we are helping people with is automation. Like we are basically helping them automate the communication between people, right? For example, if you are like, let's say you work for a school, right? You have all these students, teachers, parents, everyone else. And like, if you need something to be done, like if they need to be registering for something, or if they are applying for something, if you just try to handle that communication like one by one, like ask all these questions one by one, it's just like so much work, right? And it's also like once you receive that information, you do things with that information. Like you have that data, you need to process that data, you need to turn that into maybe a PDF or maybe an email, or maybe you need to approve it or sign a document, right? So that's what we discovered. We are actually helping people automate things. And so that's why we have been building all these additional automation products. Like we have a product like App Builder where you can put all your forms in and you can share it with people so they can install on their mobile phone. We have, PDF generator where you can turn your data. Like we have all these additional products at Jotform so that you can actually use your data. But recently, AI actually started to become much more important. And about 2 years ago, we started looking into like what can we do with AI? Can we actually turn forms into AI? Like can we actually let people use AI to fill out forms, for example, right? And maybe use like this chatbot to be able to fill out forms. Even like, allow people to fill out forms on the phone by using voice, because these things suddenly became possible like 2 years ago because like the technology suddenly appeared, right? It's just like AI is old, but like just these things just became really useful. Like it wasn't useful previously. It wasn't really very practical in the past. So that's how we started actually also using AI in Jotform. And recently, we released a product called Jotform AI Agents. And this product is about, having these conversational chatbots that can actually talk to people on your behalf. So you can put this chatbot on your website, you can link to it, or you can, get a phone number so people can call and they can get the their questions answered. They can fill out forms. Basic customer service. They actually can replace basic customer service. And we released this product 3 months ago. And when we released it, we actually started using on our own support system. And when we started, the resolution rate was around 25%. And over 3 months, we were able to start with 25% and reach to 75%. So now, like every 4 really support questions, like AI is able to handle every 4 questions, AI is able to handle 3 of them without actually transferring the person to a human being, because we actually made it possible for AI to do all the things our human support does. So it's been a long ride, but I feel like AI is like a really cool new revolution that's happening. And in my lifetime, like there are like 4 big revolutions happened. The first one was like personal computer, right? Yeah. Maybe when the first personal computers came out, I was a kid, but that was like, that changed the world. Like, suddenly people actually had computers in their desks. Like they started having those personal computers, and they started like become so much more productive. And they started using WordPress, not WordPress, word processors and spreadsheets and all the things, like all the software. And the second revolution was the internet. Like that just changed the world again, because now we can actually reach all the information. And the third one was the mobile, because now you have this computer everywhere you go. And the fourth revolution is AI. Now you have these machines can actually, talk to you like a human being and answer your questions. And they're really good there, and they're getting better every day. Even during these 2 years when we have been developing our product, that the models got so much better that we were improving our product, but the next version of the model was actually getting so much better that our product was getting even better because of that. So even if we did nothing, the product gets better by itself by just upgrading to the latest model.
So I want to just talk a little bit more about the utility of an agent today. What is the best use case that you see most people winning back their time with agents? What does that look like?
So during these 3 months that we started from zero, and we reached to 10,000 small business, like most of small businesses or organizations are using now our AI agents now. Most of them are actually using on their websites, and some of them actually you can use it on different platforms, like on the phone or WhatsApp, Messenger, like different channels as well. So the best, so right now as a solution, I think the best case is the customer service, providing answers to your customers or your clients. So what's happening is that because people got used to talking to LLMs, because everybody is using ChatGPT now, like most people are using ChatGPT now, because it became in the consumer space, like people, it started with consumers, right? I think it's very similar to the internet or the phone revolution as well. Like it first starts with the consumer, and once the consumer becomes gets used to using the technology, and in this case, people are now they're used to talking to AI. They're okay to talk to AI, and they actually prefer to talk to AI because they know that when they have a question, like my kids, when they go when they have a question, right? They just go to ChatGPT, usually on the voice mode, and they will just use their phones and ask their question, and then they get the answer right away. They don't have to wait for me to answer them. Like just they can get an answer right away, and it's now hallucinations are much lower now, so it's just very good answers because the LLMs now use the internet as well, the web search as well, so it became much better. So now people are used to talking to the LLMs. This is an opportunity for businesses to use AI to be able to provide service to their customers. Because when someone goes to your website, if they need to, like in the past, like, you would put a form there, right? But if you put a chatbot on your website, and if that chatbot doesn't say things like, "Hey, you need to wait until 9 a.m. to talk to me because this is a live chat," if the chatbot like speaks to them right away, if it's an AI, they're actually more likely to talk to it because they know that they will get an answer because they are now used to it. So customer service is, I think it's growing in a huge way right now in terms of AI. And the businesses that use AI to be able to serve customer service, they get so much benefits. Because even in our case, like because we are using our own product, like most now our customer service load is much lower because the easiest questions are now handled by AI because AI can handle the easy questions. And now people who have more complex or difficult problems that needs to be handled by human, then they get much quicker answers. They get much faster response because our customer support team is not busy with answering all these basic questions because they are handled by AI. So
Yeah.
AI and humans coming together actually provide a much better service because AI can handle many of the cases, like many cases that can be automated, and the humans can actually deal with more complex issues and take care of things. And they still use AI to do their jobs, to become much more productive. But and you provide a much better service because like your AI is available 24/7, right? It's available on during the weekends, during the holidays, right?
Yeah.
It can answer questions, it can sell things for you, it can gather leads for you, and
Yeah.
basically whatever you want it to be done. Basically, it's like it's like having your assistant helping customers 24/7 all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that it just works right now.
Yeah, it
That
does.
works
And
really well.
I just on the heels of a quite large conference in Silicon Valley last week, we were really looking at how human in the loop is now the standard. I think that there was this vision that all of this would be autonomous and driven by agents, and that humans would be leaning back and never work again. I don't believe that that's really the case, and I think this is what you're saying too. And so with that, my question to you is this, is what is that right mix? You've written a book about productivity and best use of time. What do you think the future holds for a practical worker? How much of this is going to be automated?
It's actually, I actually wrote the book before this AI revolution.
Oh, okay.
And so, it came out, and as soon as it came out, like it became kind of like, because it didn't really contain AI much. And
Ah,
because
okay.
of that, it was already kind of old by the time I released it. But it also had these, like the ideas was, I think they were in like specific to specific products. So the ideas was, I think, timeless. So it still applies to it. And it's actually, and that's exactly what I am actually advising in the book. Like when I'm talking about the automation flywheel and automation first principles, things like that. Um, it's about like building your systems so that your systems can actually like automating things, and then you are actually the manager of your systems, and you are actually overseeing your systems, and then you keep adding more automation. And that's exactly what we are doing with AI right now. So I actually wrote those ideas before the AI, before I thought that AI would become this big. But then all these principles actually apply to AI, and I was able to actually use those ideas to create great service and great product. So I think it still applies. So the idea is that you want to start. So one of the things I advise in the book is like kind of this deciding, like looking at how you spend your time, right? You could actually do like something like a time audit. You could create a spreadsheet and put like, every top of the hour, you could put like, what did you do like last hour, and keep track of how you spend your time. And then like you ask yourself this question, like, and then you total them up and then see like, how much you spend your time on different tasks. And you ask yourself, like, do you really enjoy spending your time doing those things? Or was that like a really, what was those things, like whatever you were doing, were they really, making an impact? Or were they just like, taking away your energy, taking you down? Really, it's just, were they wasting your time, as opposed to like getting you more inspired and excited about your work? And I recommend it like first automating things that you don't enjoy, and so that you can actually spend more of your time with things you enjoy. And this kind of like helps you automate more and more, because you gain so much from these
Yeah.
automations.
You know what I like that you said is that the timeless truths, because I think a lot of folks think AI is new, which we know it's not. The other thing that I think is people think it's a magic wand, like it's somehow going to negate the fact that we still need to have good planning. I mean, it really, so in many ways, like your book is actually really a good baseline pre-AI. Like if you don't get these basics right, you're never really going to deploy a good AI strategy because you don't understand your time allotment. You don't understand what you're passionate about. And I think that is the bigger, harder work that needs to be done before anyone starts buying a bunch of tools.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, AI makes a big difference. Can make a big difference. It's hard to actually use AI to be able to automate it, but if you actually spend the time, it's possible, and the tools are coming there. I think that's why AI agents are really important, because AI is just like, instead of like just using these bare LLMs, like just using these chatbots to try to do everything, like these AI agents, these AI products, they're going to be able to handle more of these things, so that like, when you need to do something, maybe you're going to use an AI agent that's specialized on that thing, so that, it has the knowledge, and it knows which tools to use. And so that's why I feel like the AI agents are agentic AI is the feature, because it makes it possible for everyone to be able to use them, just like you would use a product,
Yeah.
just like you would use a SaaS product. I think
Yeah.
that's going to be the feature.
Workflow disruption. So we do tend to think, if you're a planner, in diagrams, right? If this, then that, right? Generative AI is basically redefining the models. And from an investor perspective, 10x companies, big idea companies, are really kind of breaking how we do work. And so we may not be able to use today's workflow to define tomorrow's AI. Would you agree with that statement? And like, do we even know how these things are going to happen if they're happening generatively and in real time? Do we need diagrams? Do we need workflows? I don't know. Big question.
I think it's really hard. I think it's AI is just another automation, right?
Right.
So, and if you want to automate something, I think the first step you need to follow is you need to map it out. So I actually talk about this in the automation flywheel in the book as well. So basically, I discovered to do these, workflow diagrams. Like you could use pen and paper, you could use one of the products, because once you actually put it on paper, like you actually discover that, oh wow, I was like wasting so much time doing this, like,
Mm-hmm.
and even if you don't automate things, like if you put like your processes in these flow charts, that you will discover that it's actually, you will be able to find ways to optimize them. So I think it's really
It's like
important to be able
cognitive,
to, yeah,
right? Like once
because
you do it, you're like, oh gosh, I really am terrible. It's a realization, right?
it's just once to put it on the paper,
Yeah.
it could be digital as well. It's just much easier to understand what's happening,
Yeah.
and then it's easier to automate it. And the problem with just automating directly is that if you do that, then you don't actually know what's happening. You don't actually have an ability to measure it, right? I think it's very important to measure things. So
Yeah.
if you have this workflow, if you can actually map it out, and if you can automate it, and if you can actually measure what's happening in the, it's like a funnel. Like, people start in the first step, and then, maybe there are errors happening with the automation. Maybe it's, the automation is, doing things incorrectly. So you need to be able to like kind of see what's happening. Basically, it's human oversight, being able to understand if things are really working out, if things are really working well. And that requires, being able to see the numbers, being able to see what's happening. So that kind of requires you have first like kind of structuring, understanding what's happening, and then using automation or AI. I really believe in that. But the thing with AI is like you can actually have like many different kind of things. So you can actually turn these like automation into small pieces, like the tool usage. Maybe it's your AI can take appointments for you. Maybe the AI can actually sell things for you. Like just people can buy just talking to AI, right? There are just multiple things. So you don't have to have this like big flow charts that involves everything. You can have all these like different smaller automations, but you still need to be able to kind of track what's going on, what's happening.
To me, this is like, how do you think like an innovator to be able to think outside of your daily habits? You're an innovator. How do you think outside of your daily habits so you can, create in non-typical ways?
So I think, in terms of me, like how AI helps me, I think it made a big difference for me, because like I don't seem to be reading books much anymore. Like what I'm usually doing is like I'm just going to deep research and asking it to do a research for me, and just it creates a book for me, and I just read that, and it's a very custom book. And if I don't like it, I say, no, you made it wrong. Like just do your research about this specific area. Like I was just wondering about that, and then it will just take like 15 minutes to come up with an ebook, and I will read that book. It's like AI made it possible for me to like just write me the book that I want to read right now, right? So it's just, and usually I want to research about something, right? I want to know about all these different kind of products, or this market, or the features of other products, things like that. Like just many of the things that I can just ask AI, and it can just go there and do a research and create me a report. And there are like AI agents, kind of deep research products like Manus, that can actually even
Oh
turn
yeah,
that
man, it's
whole
great.
research into like this website with like much more functionality, so you can actually play with it, not just read it. Just play with different metrics to be able to calculate different things like that. So AI actually made a big difference for me in terms of that. Like just I'm spending so much time just constantly talking to AI, and
Right.
just asking it questions and doing research for me. And then for me personally, it's making a big difference to be able to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
think. It helps me think better, because it's just like a personal researcher, that can very
Yeah.
quickly do a research and come back to me.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
don't know if that
So that
answers the question, but
yeah, no, but I think I think what you've capped in is to really the bigger implication, and the bigger implication is we may no longer think that we're going to have these radical ideas in the shower like we used to, right? You're going to be using deep research on whatever LLM that you use, or small language model, whatever you use, whatever model you're using, that's how we're going to ideate in the future. It's not going to come just from here. It's going to come from the collective of all of this knowledge that's been assembled and put into these models, which is radical, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's, I struggle. I'll be honest. I struggle when I think about the narrative of how we talk about AI, because some of it is so practical and so easy. Great. Yeah, it's going to help you write. Yeah, great. It's going to help you research. Great. Yeah, it's going to help you do this. Right. And then I think about the deepest implications of these models, of just, how deep, just as what you said, is we are no longer independently thinking as a society. And this probably took, I don't know, maybe it took a year or two from November 22 when it first launched to the public, ChatGPT. And I think that diffusion and that use, and leaders like yourself who are building and innovating and thinking deeply about process and time, you're recognizing that the best use of time is to have deep research as a thought partner to get to the next level, not just to rely on, oh my gosh, what have I thought of?
Another question is like, should you be an expert? Maybe it's better to
That's
be maybe it's better to be a generalist who's like,
yeah.
AI is becoming the expert that you need, and then uh, doing those things for you, and then you kind of guide AI and AI agents to accomplish the task. Like you're kind of like the manager. Like managers are not
Yeah.
really, they may be experts, but they're not actually going and doing everything themselves. But they have to think about the big picture, and they have to think about the goal, what the goal you are trying to reach. And then you can still like move incrementally. I really believe in like moving incrementally as opposed to like just coming up with the final solution. And then you can still get help with AI, like just um, you know, maybe you need to do, let's say you want to build a website, right? Maybe you talking to, there are actually AI website builders, and then you can just say, okay, I have a coffee shop, I need to build a website, and then it will maybe ask you questions, and you answer those questions. It's going to build a site, and then you iterate on it, right? That's the expert. You don't need to learn HTML. You don't need to learn,
Right.
design. You can just tell it, okay, I need this kind of picture. You can actually work with the AI, and then you're actually becoming this reviewer of the work AI is doing, and then giving it feedback and instructing it, and then so basically, I think we have to have the, like, Steve Jobs calls it the taste. We have to know what's good, right? We have to know what we want, and then if we do that, then if we can work with AI or automation, that can help us kind of reach that goal. And I think
I
that
love
that's the
that.
best solution, as opposed to like getting
Right.
lost in the details.
I think that is phenomenal. It's funny, Josh, our producer, we're just talking about this yesterday as well, was like, the having the taste to be able to recognize greatness. It's okay if you can't do all of it, but you have to set that vision and rise to that. And who cares if that's human or tool or whatever it is? You just got to get there. Like, what do we care? The outcome has to be phenomenal. That's such a really good way to think about this. Phenomenal. Wow, I mean, like, we could be done. Like, literally, you slam dunked it right there, but we're not done, because I'm sure there's more goodness for you. Okay, so now you're here. You've been running Jotform since 2006. What's next for you? What would you like? Let me just ask it this way: what would you like consumers to do next on the Jotform platform, and what should they expect?
For me personally, I see my title founder, not something about the past, but I see it as a title for the future, right? I'm not the person who founded Jotform, but I prefer to be the person who is actually founding the future of Jotform, like future of our products, future of our, the team, how we work, like just making things better. That's why, like, just because I'm thinking that way, I'm usually like focused on like one area as opposed to like being the CEO who does everything and just having a good executive team that's handling things for me, and then I'm just focusing on, right now I'm just focused on AI. Just pretty much everything else, I don't, I leave it to our executive team. I leave it to our COO, so that I can just focus on being the founder. And and the answer to the question is like what to expect for the future is definitely AI. AI is pretty much, this is the next revolution. This new technologies makes like so much possible, but I don't think we have implemented any of these like possibilities. Like just, and I see AI as this like dragon in the Game of Thrones, and the Khaleesi is like my favorite character in the Game of Thrones, and because she can tame the dragon, and so here's the problem with AI. Just like a dragon, if you cannot actually tame it, it can become so much dangerous. You cannot actually use it practically because it's just going to make so many mistakes. So the solution is to be the Khaleesi, be able to like use AI for the good, and be able to like not burn yourself, get burned by your dragon, but be able to use it for the good. And it's really hard. That's why like we don't see big adoption in AI other than the chatbots. Like we see big adoption with chatbots, everyone is using. But with chatbots, like you ask a question, you get an answer. If the answer is incorrect, you're fine. It's not the end of the world. But if you want to use the AI in like everything we use, like it needs to be more reliable. And just like the dragon, it's not easy to make it reliable. It takes time to make it reliable, and that's the challenge. And I actually love that challenge, and it's just so much fun to work with. And that's how we, during these 3 months, we started with the 25% resolution rate in our AI support, and we reached to 75%. And we will
Yeah.
never reach like 80 over 80% probably. Maybe we'll reach over 80%, but we will never reach like over 90%, because at some point like humans need to be in the loop,
Right.
because it's just, sometimes, even our human support sometimes cannot actually reach that levels anyway. So it's just,
That is phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay, and final question for you is, what should students and people entering the workforce, what should they be doing right now? How should they be thinking about their careers, and how would you instruct them to spend their times to be viable in this AI
yeah,
economy?
I think they're lucky because they're growing up with AI, and they are like, AI is much more natural to them. So they're gonna have skills that we don't have. I don't actually know what they are, but it's just like because it's very natural to them. Like just they use AI more. They're gonna be able to like just become much more productive with AI, and so I think they should just double down on that. Just be the AI person, and then if you are going into the workforce, go into the workforce as like I'm going to be your AI guy. If you are a developer, write code with the help of AI. If you're, a business major, right, you be good at using AI. I think that just makes a big difference. And like, most people in the existing workforce, they are not used to like using AI, or it's just not natural to them.
Right.
But I think when you're young, it's just when you're growing up with something, it becomes like part of you. You became much more fluent in that technology. So I feel like if they
Embrace it.
double down on AI, they're going to become much more successful. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what I'm hearing, as I can tame that dragon. Be the Khaleesi, right? Make it happen. Don't be afraid. Innovate. Know how you're spending your time. Understand your workflow. leave a legacy, and build a great company just like you did with Jotform. Thank you so much for your time and your insights, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon to see how you're capitalizing on the vision of AI.
Make sure you're subscribed to Mind the Machine podcast, like the video, and leave a comment letting us know what you thought.